Hi, everyone. My name is Brandon Hilliker, and I am going to be doing a pretty amazing event that's coming up that has never been done before. It is called the Try for Hope, From Hell to Paradise. It is a 355-mile triathlon from Hell, Michigan to Paradise, Michigan. It is a 285-mile bike from Hell, Michigan to Mackinac City. It is a 5-mile swim across the straits and under the Mackinac Bridge. And then I get out of the water in St. Ignace and I run 65 miles to Paradise, Michigan. It's called the Try for Hope, to give people hope. And I am with Barb Smith from Barb Smith Suicide Resource and Response Network. And I will be raising the goal is to raise money for Barb Smith's organization and to give other people hope. So, Barb, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Our network is a nonprofit, and we started 35 years ago. My brother John was 20 years old when he took his life. And our network's mission is to prevent suicide through education, advocacy, connection to resources, and to support people impacted by suicide. So that long mission statement really means that we do a lot of education, a lot of trainings, destigmatizing mental illness and suicide. So we do lots of trainings for anyone middle school or older. We do different levels of trainings. And then we are an advocate. So with the state, we're on many organizations and committees to help make changes in the way we work with families or individuals struggling with thoughts or mental health. And then we connect people to resources, so we help people navigate a system that's oftentimes complicated. And then we do the aftercare. So when there has been a death by suicide, we have an ongoing support group, an outreach team, and we help support people who are struggling in their grief. So I always say we have the opportunity, and we're one of the few in the state of Michigan that do the full circle. So a lot of prevention efforts, a lot of connections, navigating, and then we care for people impacted.
That's busy.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we're very busy. Yes, we are.
There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
What made you decide to start doing the education aspect of the trainings?
Yeah, so when we first started, when my brother took his life so many years ago, we thought the stigma of suicide and mental illness was bad then or
Right.
now. It was really bad 35 years ago, right? So what we did is we predominantly started in the aftermath running a support group. We're the second longest running group in Michigan. So I went and got trained, around the country on how to facilitate a group. And I thought, we can sit around this table for the next 30, 40 years and care for people impacted. But I wanted to go upstream. I wanted to take our grief and find purpose. So we started to do more of the prevention efforts. So we really do both. Last year we delivered 62 suicide prevention trainings, and we trained nearly 10,000 people. So so initially we started with the aftercare only, but now we've been involved both local, state, national levels. So we've just taken it to a higher level now.
Yeah.
Like using our voices, using the survivors, using people who struggle like yourself, to share their stories and to help us to make change in the world as we see it.
Wow, 10,000 people in a year.
Yeah.
That's inspiring.
Yeah. So we have a lot of work to do, don't we?
Yeah. So for those who are watching that don't know my story, in 2013, I was a commercial diver in the Gulf of Mexico. I was a biker. I used a lot of substances, and I self-medicated, and I acted on my suicide thoughts. And I ended up in a coma for 2 weeks, and when I got out of a coma, life was drastically different. I thought ending my life would be better, and it made things worse, but I'm still here. I had a lot of brain damage. I had to learn how to talk and walk and communicate with people. Like having the conversations we are now in 2013 were very difficult. Like my brain just was not sending the signals to my mouth, and it was very difficult. So suicide is a very important topic to me, and just to hear that there's 10,000 people in 1 year trained is amazing, because when I acted on my thoughts, people in my circle, one, I was a big tough guy, underwater welder, biker, like I didn't need help, and I didn't have the people in my circle that were trained, and it was, like you said, 35 years ago was different. Just 13 years ago was different.
5 years ago was different.
Right? Yeah. The stigma, it's gotten better, but it has a long ways to go, but it has gotten better, and that's why your organization is so important to me. Is because you're breaking the stigma. You're teaching these skills. You're teaching the skills to everyone, and it's really important.
Yeah. Well, the previous Surgeon General said that we all play a role in suicide prevention, right? So it's not just behavioral health specialists. It's not just a school counselor. This is everyone plays a role, like your friends, your fellow welders, right? They're going to hang out and see you and your behavior changes before you ever go and reach out for help for mental health. Right. So the more people we teach, the more levels of teaching we do, the better opportunity to prevent deaths by suicide. So for instance, right, we're going to teach middle school students different tools, similar skills, than we're going to teach when we do an assist training. Like different levels of training are going to be more appropriate for different age groups and levels of. Right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes total sense. What are the different types of trainings that you have that you put on?
So we do multiple, we call it a multiple level or multiple tier types of trainings. So when we do quick awareness trainings to like Kiwanis clubs or the Lions groups or civic groups, and those might be very quick, just a little bit of data to help them understand that this is a problem in our community, in all communities. So that would be more of a quick awareness that we can, bring us in to do training. So that's just a quick overview. Then we do trainings for our youth. We do 1-hour assemblies or classrooms for middle school or high school students, how to recognize a concern in themselves or their friends. What do you do when your friend tells you about their thoughts or you're concerned about your parent? Where do you go for help and how do you do it? So that one is geared for youth. Then we do a Safe Talk training, which is a half-a-day training, and we will train anyone 15 and older, and it's done through video trainings, a little bit of lecture, and then a little bit of practice. And we teach 4 steps: the tell, ask, listen, keep safe. And what that means is we teach people how to tell the individuals what you noticed about their behavior change, and to ask directly about suicide. And we teach you how to listen just for a moment to decide who you're going to connect them with next, who can do much more of the work. Then the next level is called Assist, and that is 2 days of training. It's applied suicide intervention skills training. And we teach individuals, it's a 3-phase model. We teach them how to connect with someone who's exhibiting some type of behavior change. What are you noticing? What are you hearing or seeing? And then we use that to ask directly about suicide. And then we teach them how to connect, how to understand why this individual might want to end their life. What's going on in their life that's causing them pain? And reminding them that you have other choices. Like, what else can you do besides end your life to deal with your pain? And then the next level, which is much more than the other trainings, which is we teach them how to develop a safe plan. So that one is 2 full days. It's for 16 and older. We train PhDs to students, to bus drivers, to parents, to aerobics instructors, right? Like, we teach all people, all levels, but it depends on how much you want to learn. So we will tailor any training to any group of people because we all have an opportunity to help someone who's struggling with the thought.
Right. That's amazing.
Yeah. So some are evidence-based and some are evidence-based content.
So I ended up taking first I took the assist training. It was about 11-12 months ago at the Chippewa College of Mount Pleasant. And then I took the Safe Talk training through Delta College, the nursing department. They offered it for students. And the assist training was really impactful for me. When you were talking about the assist training, the biggest thing that I took away from is, one, with my past, like to rewind a little bit. When a lot of times when I would express a need for something, or like if I was to say I need mental health services, somebody would try to fix it, like they want to put the fix right.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I took away from the assist trainings is that you're not trying to fix the situation. You're giving the person the choice to choose to live and to choose their narrative,
Yeah.
You're not pushing it. And like 911 is important, but when you like freak out and you call 911, sometimes that's not really needed. Sometimes you just need to sit down and talk to the person.
Yeah.
And the assist training teaches you the skills to properly do that.
Yeah. Yes.
And after I took that class, I remember sitting there talking to you like, I wish I had this training 15 years ago, because I want to rewind and have so many conversations differently now.
Yeah. It's just a skill, right?
Right.
And it's just a suicide prevention training, but it's a life skill.
Right.
We don't oftentimes listen to people, do we?
No.
We oftentimes, like, we surface it, or like you said, people want to fix you. Oh, don't do that. Like, you can't kill yourself. What about me?
Right.
Right? We don't want to sit in their story. And the assist training teaches us the value of sitting in someone's story with them and getting a understanding of your perception of your life. Because once we understand why suicide comes to your mind, we can help you navigate other ways to deal with your stress than suicide. Because when suicide becomes your only option, you don't oftentimes look for other ways to deal with your pain.
No.
So assist teaches you how to look at other options. And one of the things, because you and I were speaking earlier, is about intrusive thought.
Right.
You still think of suicide.
Right.
Those are intrusive thoughts, and some people have them often. Many people get concerned about them. I don't get concerned as long as we're talking about that. And okay, so the thought came to your mind. What are you going to do with it? How can we help you? What can you do when those thoughts come to your mind? Because when we lead people to believe that if you have a thought of suicide, there's something wrong with you, you're crazy, you're selfish.
Right.
That doesn't help you. That's hurtful.
Right.
So we have to let you know that some people have intrusive thoughts. When those thoughts come to your mind, what are you going to do with them? Because I don't want you to feel bad about having that thought, because you can't control those thoughts. We can control what we do with those thoughts. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And there's two things that I want to talk to you about. One is that even though all the things I've gone through, even though after the aftermath of what I did caused so much brain damage, that still to this day, during an episode, a manic episode, during when life gets down, like, I will still have those thoughts. And those thoughts are more of a negative coping skill that my brain has developed through trauma through years and years and years, right? It's just a thought. It's just like, I don't know what to do, thought.
Come on, stop. Yep.
Right. And it's not an act. It's a coping skill. And the second thing that you said that really made sense is the why. That a lot of times when you try to fix somebody's situation, you don't ask why. Yeah. Why are you having these thoughts? Why are you having this situation? And sometimes when you ask that, just letting those people talk, explain their why. Yeah. Like, why are you feeling this way? Rather than pushing your narrative on them, they get to choose and express how they're feeling and why they're feeling it. And that's invaluable.
And it doesn't always make sense to the person listening, but it makes sense to you.
Right. And
if you can talk it through and process it, it oftentimes changes the direction of that conversation. Right. What is the biggest thing that you learned? I love your analogy of the biggest takeaway that you took from Assist, besides the narrative, when you talk about the CPR class that you did. Yeah. I love that analogy.
So, I've been CPR trained since I was a commercial diver. Like this, it was a skill that had to be learned, first aid response. And this is a CPR mask, and I've been wearing this one for probably 11 or 12 months. And it's always on my keychain because I do so much endurance sports, running outside, snowboarding, anything. You never know when someone's going to go in cardiac arrest, right? And it's good to have where you're trained to have this barrier. Now, I am not comparing these two as one's good or better than the other. They're both equally valuable.
Yeah.
And when I did this assist training and the safe talk, I both got a card. But the assist training, you get this card, and it's a blueprint of what to do in the situation of when someone says, I want to kill myself. And sometimes it's hard to remember the information from that you were trained months ago.
Yeah.
So you carry this card around. So I've had this for about 11 or 12 months, and I've had this for 11 or 12 months. This has never been used, and this has been used several times. Not only to help somebody, but to when I'm explaining what the training was that I went through, I get this card and I can show this. When someone is having thoughts of suicide, I can pull this card out and it can just guide me step by step on what to do, so I'm not wrapped up in my mind trying to help this person. It's right here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they're both equally important, but I have used this more than this.
And they're both life-saving measures.
Both life-saving measures, yeah.
Just different mind and physical.
Right.
But the importance of knowing that you are 10 times more likely to come in contact with someone with a thought of suicide than someone having a heart attack. Right. Both are valuable. But why are we more comfortable, and why is it required in many companies to be trained in CPR, but not in suicide prevention? And when you think about the welding friends, they're never going to ask for help, right?
Right.
You're not going to go into work and be welding something and say, hey, buddy, how's your mental today? Right? If you see him struggling, drink a little bit more, I'm like, man, you're just not being really great today, or what's going on? But if somebody was here struggling with a chest pain, and you see them, sweating or rubbing their arm, you're like, hey, are you all right? I'm looking at you, buddy. It looks like you could be having a heart attack here. Are you doing okay? Do you have chest pains? We don't have a problem asking about those symptoms. We have a problem asking about the mental health symptoms. So we have to get people comfortable. And I think it's very important that we learn to destigmatize and bring awareness to mental health and suicide. But if we don't teach them the skill how to respond, we are not being good people. Right? We need to teach people how to ask the question and how to respond if there's a concern for suicide. And we need to give people like you permission to ask for help. Right. There's nothing wrong with you because you have a thought of suicide. There's everything right about you. All you need to do is reach out, make the call to 988, go to your wife, go to your friend, go to someone that you trust and say, look, man, I'm in that dark spot right now. Can you just sit with me? I don't need you to talk. I just need you to be with me. I need to sit. And people need to get comfortable doing that. Kids need to get comfortable when their friends send them a text, or their girlfriends or their boyfriends or their partners, to say, hey, I care a lot about you. We're going to have to go talk to the school counselor. We have to talk to somebody. Let's talk to our coach. We need to get somebody to help both of us, because I don't want to lose you.
Right.
That to me is very simple humanness. And when the Surgeon General said we all play a role in suicide prevention, we all play a role in suicide prevention. It's not just mental health professionals or primary care. It's every single one of us can learn this life-saving skill.
Yeah.
So
there's I guess you could say a metaphor I use a lot. I believe that I'm a mental health advocate, and the things that I do is breaking the stigma on mental health. And there's a huge stigma on mental health and suicide, and they're side by side. Those things go hand in hand. And like you were talking about earlier about stigma, when you see someone on crutches with a cast on their leg, you can use your empathy and see they're in pain, right? Mm-hmm. And you can feel that they're in pain by using your empathy. However, when you see someone crying in the corner, or when you hear someone's dealing with a mental health, it's kind of a subject you tiptoe around and try to avoid because there's such a stigma on it. But mind and body is one in one. It's one and the same.
Yeah.
You know.
And you're using your mind and body to do this Drive for Hope.
Right.
So I'd like to hear a little bit about that and what we're doing to support you in your journey.
Right.
So tell me about this race again. I love to hear your story and your why.
So the Drive for Hope from hell to paradise was thought of because I have literally been from hell to paradise, and more times I've been in hell than paradise, and it's been a struggle. And so I thought of this big metaphoric race, and I didn't want to just do like an Ironman. Last summer I did the 11 medals for the 11 years that bipolar took over my life. I did 10 triathlons, and I swam around Mackinac Island, which was 9.5 miles.
Wow.
And it took 8.5 hours. So I wanted to do something bigger and with more of a cause. And I thought of this, and it's big, and it seems impossible. And when I swam around Mackinac Island, that seemed impossible, right? That's 9.5 miles. It took 8.5 hours. And more than 400 people signed up for this race, I believe, and less than 50 ended up swimming all the way around it. And during that swim, there was 4 to 6 foot seas, 4 to 5 foot seas, and the water was picking me up and slamming me back down, and picking me up and slamming me back down. And for 3 miles on the south side of the island, and I remember just sticking my head in the water and screaming, you're not going to beat me. I just had this mindset of, it's not going to win. Yeah. I didn't come here to walk. I came here to swim. Yeah. And that mindset got me all the way around the island, right? And that mindset is what, that strength, that fortitude, that drive, that resiliency that got me around that island, that got me through the 11 medals for the 11 years, is the mindset that I need to have when I have my thoughts, Because you can give me all the therapy in the world, but those coping skills that I have learned over 44 years of my life, those negative coping skills of thinking of, this situation's too hard, I might as well just kill myself.
You're a piece of shit and you don't deserve to be here. And
those negative thoughts, that strength mindset is the mindset that you have to have, 1, to get through it. 2, to ask for help. Yeah. It's hard to ask for help because of the stigma, because people tiptoe around it.
Yeah, and you don't want to be weak.
Right, you don't want to be weak. And you need this strong mindset. And the Drive for Hope is kind of what I'm hoping to give to other people, is that no matter how hard it is, it's okay to ask for help. Yeah. And sometimes it's okay to just grab hope and hold on to it. That tomorrow's going to be a better day.
Yeah, even for this minute, right?
For a minute, 1 minute.
All day, right now.
Right now. Yeah. And that's what I want to do. That's really what I want to show people, is that the impossible is possible. This 355-mile triathlon has never been done before. It seems impossible. How is this even possible? Yeah. And I'm doing this in 72 hours.
I haven't driven 355 miles. Right? Yeah, but the thing is and I think it's important that we help people understand that when you take off on your bike ride, right? When you do your swimming and you're doing your running, you're having people beside you. You're going to have people supporting you, and you're going to have people videotaping you, but you're going to have people supporting you. So when you are having your emotional moment or your muscles are tensing up, you have different people on this journey that are going to help you. And I think it's very similar to people who struggle with mental health on your journey. it's going to take more than just medication, more than just one therapist, more than just exercise, more than just sleep. You need multiple people, multiple things to help keep you moving in life and to keep you stabilized.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the same thing that you're doing, which you are creating a safety net through this whole journey. And, you know, and I really like that, you know, you just keep moving forward. You're here, inhale, and you're going towards paradise.
Right.
And a lot of people live in their past. And I think that story is important where, yes, I did try to take my life. I had suicide behavior, but that was then.
Right.
I'm going forward. I'm going to my new place, my new life. And it's a nice visual for people to have,
right.
that you don't have to stay in hell. You don't have to stay in the past. Remember that the analogy of the rear view mirror is so much smaller than your windshield. Continuing to live in your past is not helpful.
Yeah.
Having your little goals and your 11 medals, your 11 marathons, triathlons.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. Like,
yeah.
I've attended my daughter's triathlons. I've rooted for her, but I've never participated. And I think that it's important that people know that you can set small goals and larger goals.
Yeah.
But have goals every day, whether it's making your bed, getting out of bed. Do you remember in your dark spot when you couldn't even brush your teeth?
Yeah.
Like, how do I get out of bed? How do I do half marathons when I don't even want to get out of bed today?
Yeah. And you're talking about goals, and for a long time, I lived in that rearview mirror. You know, like you talked about, the windshield's bigger than the rearview mirror. I was the person that lived in the rearview mirror. I was so fixated on my mental health and my trauma that I would hyper focus on the past. And I allowed that to define who I was. And once I started to achieving goals as any goals, like once I started achieving the triathlons, once I started achieving just going to the gym and running a quarter mile. Like, I've only been doing this for 17 months. When I first started at the gym, I was with my wife and I couldn't run a quarter mile. I could not swim 2 laps.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I couldn't. Like, I was dying. But the next day I came in and I did it. The next day I came in and I ran 100 feet farther than a quarter mile. The next day, every one of those small goals started making me feel good at myself. And I started hyper-focusing on the goals and moved away from the rearview mirror, you know? And each day that I strived to achieve a goal. Now, that's not saying that you have to have a goal of running a 355-mile triathlon.
Yeah, that's not happening.
You know, like, that's not happening. A goal can be anything, you know? Like, I recently talked to somebody that was struggling cleaning a room, and this really impacted me. And this story just sticks to my mind. And she was having trouble and getting overwhelmed every time she would try to clean her room. And I explained to her like this: go into your room with a piece of paper and a pencil, write down the tasks that you need to do, right? One of the tasks can be cleaning up the Christmas stuff. Mm-hmm. Write down the task that you need to do and then put it on a piece of paper, and that's your goal, to clean the Christmas stuff out of the room. And then write down the steps that you need to take to achieve that goal. Take that piece of paper, go in the room, and go step by step. Don't worry about all the other stuff in your life, everything else in your room. Worry about that goal. Yeah. And when you achieve that goal, take that piece of paper and put it up next to your mirror, because that's your medal. You achieved that goal. That's your 5K medal.
Yeah.
Because sometimes cleaning a room, sometimes getting out of bed, sometimes brushing your teeth is a 355-mile triathlon.
It is, yeah, for some people, in those dark moments.
And I've been there.
Yeah.
I know it. Like, there's been times where just going to the bathroom and brushing my teeth and crying while I'm brushing my teeth, because like I was so consumed by like the
Why
depression.
I have to wake up today.
Right.
Yeah.
the goal of brushing your teeth needs to be celebrated. Celebrate those small victories. Celebrate those small goals, because those small goals are going to lead you to bigger goals. And start focusing on your goals that you have achieved and not the trauma you've been through.
Trauma impacts your life, but it doesn't have to control your life.
Right. And it doesn't have to define you. For a long time, my bipolar defined who I was, and I allowed it.
So we changed that language, right?
Right.
It's like people would say, like, I'm bipolar.
Right.
You have bipolar.
I have bipolar.
You are not bipolar.
Right.
I attempted to take my life. I had suicide behavior. I did not fail my attempt. Right? Like, we want to make sure that we self-talk in a way that's helpful and not hurtful. My brother ended his life. He did not commit suicide. He is not a criminal. He is not violent. He was an amazing human being.
Right.
He did not violently kill himself. He died from a method that ended his life. He died from suicide. My dad died from a heart attack. My other brother died from cancer. He did not commit cancer. My brother John did not commit suicide. He died by suicide.
Right.
And I think that we have to be sensitive to ourselves. Be kind to yourself. You are not bipolar. You have it.
Right.
And you are controlling it with medication. Are you still on medication?
Not really.
No. So good, right?
Yeah.
So some people,
Yeah.
right, you do and you don't, and it depends on where your brain's at, but you also have educated yourself to know when I need to do this. When do I need to go back to it?
Yeah.
I'm sure your wife can say, hey, listen, Brandon,
Yeah.
it's time, right? She can tell your behavior changes, and you're not resistant to it. You know what you have to do to adjust your brain chemistry
Right.
to stay well.
And that's, so, two things. The words we use are very impactful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, since I've been around your organization, I used to say words all the time, like, I am bipolar, I committed suicide. And being around you and your organization have really taught me that the words that we use are very impactful.
Mm-hmm.
And when we say them, our brain listens.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And now I say I've responded to thoughts of suicide in 2013. You know, I am not bipolar, I have bipolar.
Yeah.
And the words we use are very important.
Yeah.
Second thing is that since I've been doing all these triathlons and I have been going to Delta College, I have really focused on neuropsychology and psychology. And it's taking me, you talked about medication, and medication is important, 100%. Mm-hmm. And my medication that I use has a lot to do with the education aspect from Delta College.
Yeah.
And I have learned through education and trial and error of how physical fitness impacts my mental health.
Yeah.
So when I feel manic or have a feeling of depression, I have learned through my education of what that actually is in the brains, the neurotransmitters. Yeah. And I have learned to manipulate physical fitness to positively impact my mental health. When you train, one, you're successfully completing goals, right?
Yeah.
That's a dopamine release.
Yeah.
Depression is lack of dopamine, the neurotransmitter.
Yes. Yeah.
Exercise builds serotonin. It makes serotonin. It builds adrenaline in your brain, which is a neurotransmitter. Serotonin is responsible for happiness, right? Mm-hmm. And it controls all the other neurotransmitters, adrenaline. So when I feel depressed, I know what I need to do.
Yeah.
When I feel manicky, I go train, and that training brings oxygen and blood flow to the brain, which basically washes those abundance of neurotransmitters out of my brain and cycles everything through. So when I feel manicky, I go train as hard as I can, and it's the next day I feel 100% better.
Yeah.
Years ago, a manic episode would be 4 weeks long of just death, like horrible. And now I just go to the gym and I work it out. You know?
So instead of your thoughts controlling you, you're controlling your thoughts.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where education has come in. Yeah. You know, like I've really, it's not that I just one day decided to stop taking my medicine. Yeah. I've really put a lot into better understanding, one, who I am, and understanding my disabilities, you know, my thought processes, thoughts about suicide. What do I do when I have thought, you know, those thoughts, and educating myself.
laws. You just know what to do with them differently than acting on them.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So I'm excited to hear about this race. So you're starting on bike in Hale.
Yeah.
On what day?
So July 25th, I'm starting in Hale, Michigan, and I am biking 285 miles to Mackinac City.
And then you're going to take a nap?
I'm going to try to take a nap because I'm going to try to average about a 17 miles an hour, which will take anywhere from 15 to 17 hours depending on obstacles. Yeah. And we face obstacles every day.
Yes,
every triathlon that I have done, I have faced an obstacle. So it could take 15 hours in a perfect world, and it's not a perfect world, so I'm expecting 17 hours.
Yeah.
And when I get there, I'm going to try to sleep a little bit. And then I'm going to wake up and I am going to swim 5 miles across the Straits of Mackinac underneath the Mackinac Bridge.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool.
And then when I get out of the water in St. Ignace, I will run 65 miles from St. Ignace to Paradise. And I'm shooting to do this in 72 hours. The bike I'll do 15 to 17, and then on the 26th, I'll do the swim, and I'm going to get out and I'm going to run as far as I can.
Yeah.
If I can make it all 65 miles, cool. If I can only do 20 of those miles and I need sleep, I'm going to give myself 3 days to do this.
Yeah.
And like you said, I have a whole team of people. Yeah. So like I have my coach is going to be there. Ray's Bike Shop, who's one of my sponsors, is going to be there in case anything happens to my bike. My wife will be there. We're doing a documentary on it, and we're going to film it, and they're going to be there. So I have a whole team of people, like you said, just like we need in life. To achieve any goal, we need a team. Yeah. And sometimes, just for some of us surviving life, we need a team of people to do that.
And sometimes you can be part of the team to help other people. Like, I want to be part of your team. Or sometimes we need to be the recipient of that.
Right.
Right? Of being, you have a team that's going to help you to go from Hale to Paradise, and you're not doing this alone. And it was interesting because one of the things you talked about is if I have a mental breakdown where I'm just going to sit and cry, or if I have a cramp, you have someone that can fill one of those needs, either mental health or a physical.
Yeah.
Or your bike. So that's how life is.
Right.
We oftentimes need more than one person in our life to help us move us along to get us from here to there. Yeah. And in your journey on this Try for Hope, you're going to have multiple people helping you, and you're not embarrassed to say, I'm not doing this without my team.
Right.
And it's all the prep work to happen. And what are you expecting from each person? And what are they committing to do to help you?
Right. And you can't be afraid, like I can't be afraid to say to my team, I need help, because I know 100%. It's a 285-mile bike ride. I know I'm going to scream and swear and throw a water bottle. And I can't be afraid to ask my team, I need help.
Yeah.
And it runs the same thing with life. Don't be afraid to ask for help. You can't be afraid to ask for help sometimes.
No, it's not hard. No. But it's finding the person that you trust.
Right.
To ask for help.
Right. And
the more people that we teach and train, and the more people that you trust, because you have to trust that person that you're asking.
Yeah.
You know, if you need emotional support, you might call your wife. If you need a kick in the butt, is she the person that's going to do that, or is she going to?
My wife's going to be there to hug me. My coach is going to be there to put her foot in my ass to get me there.
That's right?
Yeah.
Like, who do I need at this time in my journey?
Right.
You already know who that call is. Right?
Exactly.
You have 3 calls, basically.
Right.
But in life, and that's what our team wants to do for you. So our SRN network, we're going to be the recipients of the monies, because you noted that all the money is going to go directly to our network.
Yes.
There'll be a link to give money to donate in your honor. And then that money, actually, you asked us to have that money just for training purposes.
Yeah.
So that money will be set aside, restricted funds, just for training purposes. So you're going to connect us to a link, a QR code, and I think it's $20 per mile.
Yes.
But people can just do 1 mile, right? They can do any level they want. And then we're going to keep a log of all the people that donated. And it's a tax write-off because we're a 501c3. we will keep a log of anyone who donates. So you're going to know when you get done who financially supported you, who spiritually, supports you. And my hope is we'll be there at the kickoff of your, every one of your runs, but we're going to come someplace on your journey, and we want you to encourage our work. Because we get exhausted in the work that we do as a network, right? We're a small team doing big work. And for me, when I'm going to be watching you, and you're going to do a GoPro or you're going to have videos. Yeah, I want to be able to check in and say, where's he at right now? Does he need me to chirp in his ear? Right. And I hope other people click on your website and they follow you on your journey. And maybe if they're coming through their town, hook up. Right. Hook and ride.
Grab your bike and run beside me. Yeah.
And then maybe they'll share their story with you.
Right.
And you can share yours. Wouldn't that be fun to have all these different people around the state of Michigan connect you at some place in your journey?
That would be cool. Like if I had a couple bikes with me just pop out of nowhere and be like,
and you're willing to do that. You're inviting people
just
to do
that with you?
Just
thinking about that's getting me emotional. That would be really cool.
So are you inviting people to do that?
Yeah.
They can't swim with you.
No, you can't swim with me. That's there's a lot of rules on that.
Yeah.
That's for the Mackinac Bridge swim. And something you just said that kind of made me think is that your organization is a small team but you're doing a big difference. And I'm still kind of like fixated on, you said that you have trained 10,000 people. You're a small team making a big difference. And I see that. And what your organization and you have done has inspired me. And that's why I want to do this. And that's why I want to dedicate this to you and raise this money for your organization, is because you are making a big difference, and that this situation, suicide is an important topic. And so, this is how you watching this video can help us. The goal is I'm going to go 355 miles. And the goal is for people to donate money per mile. And the goal is $20 per mile. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go as far as the donations take me, and
donate a lot of money.
So I can go 10 miles or I can go 355 miles. But get me out of hell and get me to paradise. That's what I need right there. I need to get out of hell into paradise. And it's the biggest thing that I wanted is to tell people that when you're clicking that link on my website or my Facebook or wherever you see that link, that money is not going to me. That money is going to Barb's Smith Suicide Resource and Response Network, and I have nothing to do with that. That goes to you, and that's it. And I'm excited for this.
So you need a lot of people helping you financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Like get on your bike, get out there and run with me. Meet me where I'm at, and just be my inspiration. And that's really what our whole journey is about in life: is finding those people along your way. People who are with you for short term in your life, people who come in and out of your life, people who are with you from birth to death, right? Like everybody has a purpose in your life. And my hope is that people who hear this, people who click on your link, will take the time and the effort to meet you where you're at and to ride beside you, run beside you, whatever it takes to get you there.
Yeah. So, if you see me riding or running, jump on.
Bring you a banana or a donut.
Right. Come join me. It's a 285 mile bike and a 65 mile run, and I'm going to need people to help me get there. And watching people join me, that would be an inspiration in itself. Would motivate and push me to get there. Because it's going to be hard, and I'm going to scream and cry a little bit. 100%.
I'm going to wait till you're in a smiling state of mind. Because I'm going to just stop. It's okay. But I really want you to meet your goals. I want you to be happy with wherever you end up. And, whether it's in Hale or Paradise or Mackinac City, wherever you are along your way, just know that you're here today. You're not just surviving, you're thriving. And I think everybody listening can thrive someday. It's just getting there, finding the people to help you. And don't forget, the 988 number is, if you're in that emotional state of mind and you're on your bike and you need the 988, they'll walk and talk with you while you're there or while you're riding. So 988 is your 24-hour crisis line. or whether it's suicidal thoughts or struggling in life, whatever, domestic, whatever you need, call 988 and they will talk to you and they'll walk you through it. So whether it's you or any of your listeners, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Don't ever be afraid to ask for help. And I really want to hit on that with me being, everybody needs help. And with me being a guy and being an underwater welder and dealing with the stuff that I went through, I was afraid to ask for help. And something I say a lot and is, you can think you're tough and strong and a big tough guy and you don't need help. But I promise you, there's someone tougher sitting on a couch talking about their feelings in a room with a therapist. Just because you need to ask for help does not mean you're weak at all. We all need help sometimes, and don't be afraid to ask for it. I'm going to need help, and I need help on a daily basis with motivation and everything. Like, we all need help. And if you're ever having thoughts of suicide, don't be afraid to pick up the phone and dial 988. Don't be afraid to ask an amazing resource like Barb Smith for help or for something. And there's a lot of amazing people out there that will help you in one way or another to achieve your goals. And if your goal is to survive, there's someone out there that'll help you.
Nice. So when are we starting this run? Well, when are you starting the bike run? When am I going to meet you there?
So the goal is to start at Light in Hell, Michigan, July 25th, and go through the 27th. And hopefully I can get there in 3 days.
You'll be somewhere on that journey enjoying life challenges, actually, right? Yeah. So we'll see you then.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity for this.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you and your organization.
Thanks for doing it.
For everybody watching this, if you want more information, check out my website or my Facebook, my YouTube videos, and follow me on my journey. And thank you so much for watching this and taking the time. I really appreciate you.